Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. So, wouldn't you know it, it snowed on us on Christmas, and it snowed yesterday also. And so today I thought it would be fun to bring you a project recipe from Sensational. Sensational is the newest, no, it's not Sensational, it's called Sun Soaked. My bad, sorry. Sun Soaked is the newest CM collection that has tropical themes. And so maybe you could call this an homage to our friends who are down under. Hello, Australia, folks. Because it's their summertime right now, so this is perfect for them. Or there might be a few other reasons that we'll talk about later in the video that we might be having a tropical collection this time of year. But it is a little odd considering that we finally have snow here in Utah outside. Not a lot of it, but enough that we're feeling the chill, as it were. So it's kind of fun to do a sunny layout. Let's check out my workspace. We'll get started. All right, here's my workspace for today. And we are, it started snowing here, so I thought maybe it was time to go ahead and do Sun Soaked. So we are doing the project recipe for Sun Soaked. Sun Soaked came out about a month ago, and it's a really fun collection for all your summer and tropical types of photos. And I don't know about you and where you live, but here in Utah, the popular thing to do in December and January is to go on some kind of tropical cruise or vacation of some kind to get away from the snow and the cold. So I think that's why Creative Memories comes out with these types of collections during December and January, because yes, it's cold in a lot of places, but there are a lot of people going on vacation and taking themselves to sunnier, warmer climates. So these work great for those kinds of photos. So that's my take anyway. I am not the home office, so who really knows, right? But this is this is my explanation for why we get a tropical themed collection in the middle of winter. Or at the beginning of winter, because really our winter just barely began at the winter solstice in December. So which always throws me too. Anyway, this is a fun collection for all of your tropical types of needs, and the layout or the project recipe, as we all know, can be used with any collection. So watch how we put this together. You can use your Christmas paper to put it together if you're still working on Christmas photos. You can use 4th of July paper if you want to do, picnic photos, whatever you're working on, this can work for that. Okay, so I'm going to use the new punch, and the new punch is this one right here, which I am in love with. It's a water punch, and you could use this so many ways. So it's called White Capped Waves, and it's going to punch the design in the blue that you see here, but it's also going to give you these sort of shark fin pieces that are going to cut out of it, and it's got this basic wave of water at the bottom. So if you snipped the top part off, you could use this for the ocean, like waves at the ocean, and this for the waves in a pool or a lake. So this punch, I think, is very, very versatile, and well worth the expense of getting this punch. If you're interested in that, there is a link in the description of this video that will give you direct access to my website, so you can get this punch into your stash and your tools. If you're an advisor, of course, you'll want to order it for yourself. But if you're not an advisor, then by all means, I would love it if you would support me by going to my website and purchasing Creative Memories materials there. I have permanent and repositionable Creative Memories adhesive. that I'll be using in a little bit, and we're going to get started cutting. But let me show you the rest of the materials that I have here. I have a piece of dark sea green cardstock. I have 2 pieces from the tonal collection that goes along with Sun Soaked, the Tone on Tone, and this is kind of the middle ground orange color dots, and they all have a different color of the ombre waves on the back. So I'm gonna use the dot side up for my base pages. Then I chose these 2 designer papers as my 2 designer papers that we're going to need. You need 2 designer papers, and you need to just like one side of those designer papers. You're only going to use one side of them, not 2. All right, but we are going to be doing some punching, but we're going to be punching the cardstock, not the designer paper. So yeah, so you just need to like one side of these papers. I'll quick show you the back of both of these, which are very cool and really neat papers, but I wanted to kind of pull out some multiple colors in the print that I chose, so that's why I went with this one. I also have my sun-soaked embellishments, which we'll get to when it's time to embellish, and I pulled out a couple of mats just because I thought they might be fun to play with in this. Now, this is not going to be a beginner, intermediate, and advanced video, but just know that those are coming every Wednesday starting in January. You are going to get a beginner, intermediate, and advanced video that will give you some ideas of how you can gradually increase the look of your pages from a beginner level to an intermediate and then to an advanced. You're going to see how easy it is to do those things. And if you are even beyond the advanced level that I show you, then I'm sure you'll be able to come up with some wonderful ways of doing inking or other things to your pages to make them fantastic. But let's do a little bit of cutting first. And so on the project recipe, they'll show you a finished version. They'll show you a sketch that is color-coded. The color code transfers to the cutting guide, which is on page 2. And page 2, the cutting guide shows you exactly what you need to cut from each of the 3 papers that we're going to be cutting today. All right, so we're going to start. I'm going to move my base pages out of the way. We're not going to cut those. Those are going to just be off to the side until we are assembling. We are going to start with, let's start with our cardstock, and we're going to punch 2 rows of these cute waves. And I love that we've come out with a new wave punch. We have had several in the years past, and I may need to cut this again because you can see I've not practiced with this one before, and so a lot of the lubricant in the punch is coming off on my cardstock, which is okay. I'm just gonna punch this all the way across anyway to kind of give my punch an opportunity to move that lubricant around. See, it's much better on this end than it was on this one. We'll just set that one to the side and we'll punch again. I'm just going to turn this around and we will punch another row from this side. See, that's much better. Usually when I get a punch, and I know I did it with this one because I do it with every single one, as I take it out of the box, I will prime it. I will close the punch with no paper inside of it 20 to 25 times. It's just a habit I've gotten into, and I've never had a problem with my punches binding really. Occasionally I will have one that gets a little bit stiff, but that's usually if I've been using it a whole ton, and so that's when it will sometimes become unhappy and start complaining. But most of the time, I don't have any issues with my punches. And I blame it on, or I, fall back on the fact that I do that every time. So if you don't do that, you might look into doing that. I'm just cutting off the little notches. This is a punch that, because it is so repetitive, they give us a little notch here to line up on the wing, and that enables us to make sure that we are indeed in the right place for the next punch to line up. See how this notch lines up right here with the notch at the base? Okay, so I'm just going to punch one more row of these. Sorry, this is taking a minute. It really is fun, and my kids, I think I've told you this before, but my kids have told me that they thought it would be fun to get a personalized license plate for me that says punch and slide because they feel like I say punch and slide all the time. So anyways, all right, so we need a finished product that is at least 7 inches, which I have, which is good. So even though I had to punch that 3 times, we are still good to go with this one piece of cardstock, which is nice. I was a little worried that I was going to have a problem, but no worries. Nothing to worry about here. Okay. All right, so just cutting those little notches off so that I have a smooth side there. And then I'm going to move my arm out on my trimmer so that I can cut this 7 by 10 piece. So I want to measure it out to 7 inches. So there's my 7-inch mark. And I'm cutting off the edge that has a little bit more of the oil that we experienced before. Then we're going to turn it and we're going to cut it at 10 inches. Alright, so like that. Okay, so there's one piece. I'm going to just put it right here underneath my instructions. Alright, now we are going to go with designer paper number 1 and designer paper number 2. Now, designer paper number 1 is represented by the peach, and so it's going to be directly underneath your photos. Designer paper number 2 is kind of an intermediary background paper. So I'm going to use the more patterned paper for the area that is more of a background, and then I'm going to use the more ombre waves as my peach paper. That'll go right underneath my photos, and it'll be a little bit less distracting. That's the word I was looking for. All right, so we're going to cut this paper into 2 pieces. We're going to cut one into a 4 by 12 and one in, the remaining paper will be 8. So I'm going to move that punch. We're going to just measure this at 4 inches. And when I measure on the grid line, not on the measure at the top or the bottom. Although I do use those sometimes to line things up. Most of it, I'm looking at lining my paper up on that grid line to make sure it's straight. Okay, so then I have my 8 by 12 and my 4 by 12. Those are going to go along with my cardstock piece that's over here. And then we're going to take our ombre wave page and we're going to cut this into these 3 pieces. So the first thing that I recommend we do is this vertical line right here, which is going to be cut at 8 inches. So I'm going to place the edge of my paper at the 8-inch mark on the arm. Set this one to the side right here. Then I'm going to turn this top side out, and I'm going to cut this again at 8 inches so that I have an 8-inch square. Okay, and then I have a piece that's 4 by 8, a piece that's 8 by 8, and I have a piece now that is 4 by 12, but what I need is a 3.5 by 10 piece for this. So I'm going to start by turning, or by cutting a 1/2 inch off. So I'm going to line up the right hand side of my paper with the very beginning of the grid on the right. That's a 1/2 inch. I'm going to cut there. Okay, that's a piece that's extra, so set that aside. Then I'm going to turn this, and we're going to line it up at 10 inches out here. And we're going to cut at 10 inches. Okay, this piece is extra, so it's going to go over there. All right, so now we have all of our pieces, and we are good to go to assemble our layout. So I'm just going to grab my base pages and bring those back over and grab my trimmer and put it away because we are done with the trimmer. Then I'm going to lay this out. Yeah, I'm going to lay this out the way that it's going to be assembled. All right, so according to our layout here, what we want to do is, I'm going to move the punched pieces for a second. We're going to set them over here. We're going to take this piece. That's not where that goes. Oh, I see. Okay. We're going to take this piece. This piece is going to go here. So this is the 4 by 12 piece. And this is going to go right along the edge of the left-hand side. Just like that. Then we're going to take, this was the peach piece that goes on top here. This was the 3.5 by 10 inch piece. So I'm going to go ahead and add some permanent adhesive to the back of that. And this is just going to get centered in the middle. So you want the right and left sides to be even, and the top and the bottom to be as even as possible. I'm just doing it visually, but if you want to, you can measure and make sure that this is 1 inch from the top, this is 1 inch from the bottom, essentially. Okay. Then we're going to take our 8 by 8. Oh, actually, you know what? I am mistaken. Hang on. Where does that piece come from? Okay. Talk amongst yourselves. Give me just a second here. No, that's right. Okay. Oh, they've turned it. Okay, so you know what I might do? I'm going to leave this one in this orientation, but I'm going to flip this and this so that we use the back side because I think it'll be less noticeable. I didn't realize that those are quite, so the directionality of your paper can be an issue on the orange piece. It's not going to be as noticeable with me flipping it over to the back side that's more tone on tone. But if I had it this way, it would be very noticeable once I turned this over, because then my waves are going the wrong direction. And they're still going the wrong direction this way, but they're not as noticeable when I turn them going this direction. All right, so I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and assemble this right side of the page while I think about that, but I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so this piece, we're going to add adhesive around the edges, and it's going to go on the outside edge of the right hand portion of this 2-page layout. Okay, so lining it up right with the base sheet. Okay, and then we're going to use the big piece of cardstock as our base for the photos that we're going to add to this page. Okay, and this is just going to get centered right here. So we learned from the other sheet that it's about 1 inch from the top, 1 inch from the bottom, and then this looks to be roughly 1/2 inch from either side. Okay, so there's that. And then this piece, glad that it was so neutral on the back, because it makes it so much easier to go ahead and add this. This is going to get added so that the top edge is even with the top edge of this piece. Okay, or about 1 inch from the top of our paper. I'm not really sure why, but that cut is really off. So I must have, somehow my blade must have leaned, which is unusual. Typically, I don't find that I have an issue with that, but I definitely do this time. Okay, just lining up my pages, and lining up my pages is going to help me line up my navy printed paper. Okay, so I want to make that as close as possible. To the other. And that looks pretty good. This one though, maybe, is there something off about the way that I adhered this piece? I don't see anything. Okay, I'm just going to pop this off and see if I can line it up a little bit better, because that's going to bug me. If it doesn't bug you, then that's great, but it will bug me, so I'm going to see if I can fix it, finagle it so that it's fixed. Okay, that works for me, but better for me, because I can cover that edge better. All right, so there we have that portion. Now we're going to take our waves, and our waves are going to go across this portion down here. So I'm going to use my repositionable adhesive and go ahead and adhere these I'm going to put one So I'm lining this up, lining up my papers. Okay, I'm going to put one across the bottom with just a little bit of the orange showing, maybe a 1/16 of an inch showing. Okay, just across the bottom, just like that. Then I'm going to add adhesive to the second row. And we're going to get this one put on. I'm adding a little bit of adhesive to the top of each of these waves just because I don't want them to catch on anything. And so that works for me. You don't have to though, if you don't want to. Then I'm leaving roughly about the same amount of space between them as I have between them on the bottom row. And in the sample that they've given here, it looks like their blue papers, their 8x8 and 4x8, are much closer to this down here. I don't think it's really that big of an issue, but if you wanted to, you could scooch these down just a little bit and it would be fine if they were a little closer to these waves. Alright, now you can take this and cut it apart one of two ways. You can use your trimmer, just slide it in and cut it right down, or you can just grab some precision point scissors and just cut them apart real quick. Since mine are handy, I'm just cutting it apart real quick like that. Alright, so now we've got our base for the layout, and we need a couple of things. I need some photo placement pieces, and I'm not pulling out the right ones. Give me just a second here. Wow, they're using some really unusual sizes on this layout. Alright, none of the ones that I pulled are the right sizes. So we've got 3x4, which I don't have. We've got 3.5x6. Wow. Alright. I will find the appropriate photo placement mats and add them before I take the photo for the thumbnail. But in the meantime, let's look at some embellishments. Let's see what we've got here. Ooh, all kinds of fun animals. If you like ocean dwelling fish, this is a great pack for you. There's a blue tang, there's a turtle, shells, lots and lots of shells. There's a hermit crab, some circles, there's a dolphin on there, palm trees, drinks, shells, more palm trees. Those are already somewhat clustered, which is nice. Here's some clownfish already in a circle. Another shell, there's an angelfish and a jellyfish. More already clustered leaves. Another cool looking turtle. Relaxation, I like it. These are some nice bases for anchoring your embellishments or giving you a place to journal. Really nice. Sun-soaked fun. What else do we have? Nice sunshine. There's a bar, place for some fun drinks, a beach, another beach umbrella. There's a dolphin, another sun, and that could be a journal box also. Nice. A parrot. Welcome to paradise. Love it. Nice palm trees. Some tropical drinks. Oh my gosh, when we went to Hawaii, we had the best. We stayed for the luau at the PCC, the Polynesian Cultural Center, and they served us, I don't know what was in it, but it was probably the best thing I had tasted in a long time. There's some waves, some water, a starfish. They served it in an open, like hollowed out pineapple, and it was like a pineapple smoothie of some kind. I don't know, but it was wonderful. Another little fishy, ocean breeze bliss, and another area for journaling. Nice. All right, so you can see from looking at the plans for the project recipe, they've got a major cluster up here with a title and a couple of extra things. Then they've got a kind of a cluster down here of just some fish and other things, and another cluster here. And those clusters can be anything you want, but generally we try to build clusters using an odd number of embellishments. If you're going to do words, usually it's one word embellishment of some kind and then a couple of other things. Some of these word clusters are quite large, so for my taste, I would add something small to this. They have actually added that large sun that can be journaled in, and the dolphin, which is one of the larger animal embellishments, which is fine, and you can do it however you want to. I like the journal prospects of that sun, so that's probably why they added that there. And I think I would make this just a little bit different, but because you've got two photos above, it makes sense that there would be a little bit of an animal parade at the bottom. It makes sense. So, it depends on what you want to do. What depends on your photos that you're displaying here. I think I would be really inclined to using some of these pre-clustered palms, because I think they would lend themselves really well to keeping the number of embellishments that you really need on this page to a minimum. Let's see. Let's see what we should use. I'm going to move this away for a minute while I take a look at the page. We also have these enamel stickers that you can use as well, which make nice additions to the embellishment clusters. So let's see. I think what I would do, just to give it a little more depth, is I would use this darker wave, maybe even accent it with the lighter one. Let's see. If you put the lighter wave behind it and kind of to the right, then that gives it a little bit of extra depth there, right? And then we could add maybe just add some shells. We've got shells here, so that would kind of add to that theme if we just sort of added a couple of shells in to the base right there. I like that. All right, and then Let's see. Over here, I don't know. I really like the palm trees. I think the palm trees with the water looks nice. But it kind of gets lost in the water right there. So I don't know. Might need to make some adjustments for that. If we move it down a little bit, it allows for more of a difference in color for there, and kind of I think the trunks of the trees are okay. They're not getting too lost. They do blend with the peach behind though. All right, let's see. What else could we add? We could add Welcome to Paradise, although that has some more green in it than we have so far. We could do Tropical State of Mind, which is a little bit less green. We could add the sun behind it, which would bring a little bit of the yellow up there. That. I kind of like that. What else could we add to our palm trees to help them? Maybe just that cool could do both of those guys, kind of. I don't know. This guy is the same color, so maybe that's not the best. Maybe we ought to do something more like that to bring the shells over. That's fun. I think I'm going to go with that. Or just for kicks and giggles, let's try just using one of these guys. Not putting that on there, so we'll move that just so we can see it a little bit better. I think that looks good. We've got some palm trees up there, some palm fronds down there. Yeah, I'm happy with that. All right, so I'm just going to grab my foam squares and get those on. So I'm going to just take some repositionable adhesive, put on that sun, and I'm going to kind of, there's a sort of a flatter edge to the sun. So that's the edge that I'm going to stick kind of parallel to the base. Then I'm going to pop up this title. Ooh, that's embossed. How cool is that? You can see that it's embossed on camera. It's nice. So that title has a little bit of depth already because of it being embossed. So that's cool. And we're just going to place that over the top of our sun. Maybe slightly to the left. I want this piece to be centered on the blue. There, that's better. Okay, so we've got that popped up just a little, the sun behind it, liking that. Okay, then we're gonna put these palm fronds so that they are all the way flush. But you'll notice these are embossed also, which gives a depth to our embellishing. And we've got photos that are going to go in here, but they're not going to go on this edge. But this one is definitely going to interfere with the photos that will go here. So I'm just going to take the adhesive off of that so it doesn't stick down. Love repositionable adhesive. That helps me out many times. I'm going to add a little bit of a foam square, I'm adding a huge foam square behind that leaf right there, but I'm not going to take the backing off of it, okay? And the reason is because that way a photo can be slipped behind it really easy. Okay, so we're just going to stick this down. This is going to stick up a bit, but a photo is going to go behind it, so we want to be able to put those down. Then I'm going to put another big foam square behind this, and a smaller one just to give this side a little more lift. That sticks both of these embellishments together and lifts them up off the page to give them some depth. I'm going to turn that around so that the orange is closer to the waves. I think that'll be lovely. Then these, first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and put these waves together. So we're going to add some embellishment, or add some repositionable adhesive to the back side of the dark one. And then when I add these together, the lighter one is shifted higher and just slightly to the left so that it gives us a nice shadow. Okay, and then placing this about an inch from the right hand corner and 1/8 of an inch up. That's where that's going. Then I'm going to go ahead and put this, I don't know what you call this. Love these kinds of shells, so I ought to learn. Looks like a scallop to me, but I don't know if that's actually what that is. And then this one I'm going to pop up with just a little foam square. And he's going to kind of go below just a little bit. Okay, so just like that. So foam squares are come in handy. You can overdo foam squares though, I think, sometimes. So be careful when you're using them. You don't want your whole page to be popped up, or it sort of changes the whole dynamic and defeats the whole purpose of balancing or popping something up to give dimension. If everything's popped up, then there's no dimension. So there is our finished layout. I think it turned out really well. I like this one. I think it's really cute. I think you could use this with any collection and layer a different decorative border punch here, and it would be very cute. So I would love to know which ones you would like to try, and make this with, besides this, and I have to refresh my memory, the white capped wave punch that we used here. I think it would be really fun to hear your suggestions of what you might use. Oh, and I also thought that I would share with you or show you what I meant earlier when I was talking about how you could use this punch in a different way, because this is the one we punched that has the oil residue on it, so I'm not going to use this, but I just thought I would show you how I would cut it apart if I were going to use this. So I would just make these a point and then kind of connect and cut off the point that I'm making in the top one. That way you can use this for either the waves in a lake or the waves in a pool. Can you see how those are separate now? So you would use this one as I would use this one maybe as the waves on a lake, or you could even use this as like frosting on a birthday cake or something fancy like that. And then you've got this one, which is now a completely separate border, which could be all kinds of things, but you could use this for the waves on a lake, or you could use this for the waves at the ocean, or you could use the whole thing like we've done here, of course. But I just love the versatility of being able to separate those and make them into two different borders. And I just thought I would share with you how I would do that. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. I am looking forward to a new year and doing some fun things with you and sharing some new things with you, some new techniques, some new ideas. And I hope that you will all tune back in and keep watching as we continue our adventures on YouTube with scrapbooking our memories. Thanks so much. I hope you had a Merry Christmas. I hope you have a Happy New Year and a safe New Year. And until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. Enjoy your day.